They call it patriotism, but we call it what it is: pure, unfiltered bullshit. Welcome to Bluebird on Your Shoulder, where we cut through the MAGA madness with brutal honesty and zero apologies. No sugarcoating, no fake civility, just three guys, middle-aged and pissed off, breaking down the absurdity of right-wing delusion one episode at a time. If you think America deserves better than conspiracy theories and cult worship, you're in the right place. Liberal? Hell yes. Woke? Not a chance. We're here to roast the madness, expose the lies, and call out the grift. Because the only thing worse than MAGA's nonsense is pretending it makes sense. New episodes every week. Buckle up.
We're back. It's Bluebird on your shoulder. We're all back. We're all together. It's been a long time. We missed you. You missed us. It's all fine. So his back's still messed up, so he's on the good stuff. So he's spaceman, him and Elon. So if you see that Tesla flying around out there, let me know. And this dude really wishes he could stop life and go to looks like maybe Bali, you know, somewhere
Fiji is where I want to
beautiful.
be, but
Fiji.
I'll
Yeah,
take I'll
well,
take anything tropical.
I won't drink their water because it's ridiculously expensive for no reason.
Well, straight out of the
Um,
volcano is fine.
Stop. I'm talking about Fiji water in the gas station.
Fiji bottled water is the best bottled water on the market.
Yeah, it better be
It's
for
water.
That
$8.
shit's
It's
fire.
water.
So, but we
Drink it
have
out of the tap like a normal person.
No.
yeah. So I'm gonna pick up on we had some interesting SCOTUS decisions come through that are very much many moons ago, making me swallow my pride and saying they were actually being fair justices because they
Yeah.
I think that Trump's administration has found a loophole though, because now they're attacking procedure.
Yep.
And it's a really interesting way to you know, from a legal standpoint, it's curiously interesting. A lot of legal analysts are like, this is an interesting angle. It will definitely be taught in your high end law schools, how
For
to
sure.
defend against it and how to use it, right? Because
Yeah.
it's not a common pathway, and it's become very common and very effective.
Well, I
Because
think
it
I think what this is going to do is it's going to complicate the red tape, and then they're going to start screaming about too much oversight and um, too much procedure being wrapped up into things when they want to go to challenge things later.
Yeah, that's very true. It's very, very true. Well, it's going to get interesting. It's going to work against them later too, and they're not going to like that, and they're going to cry wolf, and all that fun stuff's going to come. But he's allowed to resume deportations. One of the ones I think really sucks for people is it was a lower court. It wasn't SCOTUS, so it'll get there, but a lower court Trump appointed judge overturned the Biden administration rule that medical debt can't be on your credit report.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So that's going to be allowed to go back on. There's already been an injunction in that case, though, on appeal because it's going to be appealed. So if you are in that boat, you have about 3 to 6 months to get your shit together before they probably will ultimately win this one. And it's going to show it back on your credit report and destroy your credit again. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, you
So,
don't need a house.
yeah. So, well, no, I do. So, so I'm in that boat. Like I got 90 to 180 days to get the job done here. So because then a surgery when I couldn't afford insurance is going to show up.
Yep.
Because my choice was like die or have the procedure. So I went ahead and had the procedure, knowing it was going to
Welcome to
cost
what,
like
40%
30.
of America?
Yeah, and it's really interesting. So that came out, and the Twitter really unveiled place, which has become a very interesting place. We'll get into that later. So that came out, and like there are a lot of people like, well, it's your bill, you should pay it. And it's like it's not an optional bill. Like, so for a person who uses the ER to like pain medicine
Right.
seeking or something along those lines, or like doesn't know that an urgent care is much cheaper if you got the sniffles. Like, I kind of understand their point, but like me, like woke up, thought I was having a heart attack at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Turns out my gallbladder had exploded.
Hmm.
And a surgeon has to come pull that bitch, or I'm gonna fucking die. So
Yeah.
I don't have an option. I know I don't have insurance, and trust me, it took her an hour and a half to convince me to go to the hospital, and I thought I was having a heart
I was on the ground
attack.
writhing in pain for hours before I went to the ER when I
So
had
yes,
symptoms.
So it's a, it's an interesting decision to have to make with insurance, right? Like, so now I'm
Yeah.
lucky enough to have it and all of that good stuff, but life was different. So
Right.
I really do feel bad for people there. He is allowed to deport immigrants to third party countries if they'll accept them. That one I don't see us the Democrats challenging again, even though it was a procedural win. So SCOTUS basically saying the states each district gets to decide for itself. That one district judge can't make a nationwide injunction. That each district has to decide for itself. So a few districts have already heavily Democratic districts. They said, "Yeah, too bad you're not doing it here."
Yeah.
And then a few have been like, yeah, you can do it here. So that itself will be challenged, and SCOTUS will have to declare the constitutionality of the act itself. So for the people who don't understand charging procedure, saying that nationwide injunction is no good, has to be
Right.
brought up in each individual district.
Yep.
It's not you can't deport people or you can deport people. That's
Right.
not what SCOTUS is deciding. So a lot of
Right.
people seem to think that's what they're deciding. And it was this big, massive win where SCOTUS called it constitution. No, that's not what's happening.
Well, and the
So
fact that
they
they're
couldn't
calling it a
win
win for
those.
Trump or a loss for anybody, like it has nothing to do with that yet. They're not making actual decisions. They're just ruling on procedure and shifting the onus off to somebody else. Like all they're doing is picking it apart so that it's harder for people to be able to affect the law across the country. Instead, it has to be done in each individual area, which is what they want so that they can nickel and dime people into compliance with whatever the current ruling is. So it prevents people from helping other people in other areas. Instead, it only helps them if they rule or bring a case up through the system and win. You know.
Yeah, that's factual. Like that's definitely how it goes. And I mean, we're gonna see it. It's gonna happen, right? Like over the time, it's gonna happen. They were losing direct constitutional challenges left and right because it's
Right.
unconstitutional. So they changed their angle, which I will give because it's still the same poor fucking dude, bro. I forget his name right now, but that poor lawyer, dude,
Yeah.
getting marched in there to get decimated by Supreme Court justices over
I'm
and over
surprised he
again.
still has hair. I'm sure he's
Yeah.
getting it dyed at this point, but
Whoa, hey, it's fine to not have hair. So yeah, so we definitely have that, and then we have so the girls are fighting again. They've been fighting for a minute now, so it's a much more low key fight. So it spawned over the big beautiful bill, which did pass and was signed, so will slowly become law. I'm pretty sure you guys went into that last week.
We
Um,
did, yes.
So, you know what I'm saying, and highlighting the things that aren't real that people think are real. And some people are actually finding out. Like I saw a few posts on more on my local Facebook where like, wait a minute, the overtime is capped. And they don't even understand it's not even capped. It's a deduction. So you can either
yeah.
take the standard or you can itemize.
Right.
So it's a lose-lose. It's more fairy dust and fucking sparklers, right?
It is.
So
Yeah, all it was something him to put in there for them to tout that they're helping
Yeah.
that they're
Yeah,
helping the working man, and they're
it's
just
gonna
gonna
help
fucking
less
benefit
than
off of it.
1% of the nation,
Yeah.
like
100%, less than 1% of the nation, and it's limited, right? It's going to be
yeah,
limited. So we'll see what happens there. Have a couple of interesting moves where um, tariffing is bringing in quite a bit of revenue, and they're celebrating that real heavy. And
sure.
it's bringing in quite a bit of revenue. That's factual. It's happening. Like I'm not going to argue that. Like I've seen people out there like it's not really bringing that in. That's a stupid argument because it is, and it's public
Well,
source. And
but have we put it up against the loss of revenue because of reduction in
no, we're not going to do
Why would
that.
they do that?
Why would we do that, bro? That's But what we can openly talk about is yes, all of this revenue is coming in and they're big, pretty numbers. And it is going to the United States government. That is happening. All of that's very true. And
Through
you are
our
paying
pocket.
for it, and we are paying for it. It's
yeah,
another form of taxation. Like you're mad at taxes and then you want to do this. And even though ultimately, like I haven't seen a ton of consumer transfer happen yet, But that's the other part. So it is bringing in revenue, and they're touting the numbers. So I haven't seen historical revenue from tariffs either being talked about, but I haven't seen the left come out and challenge with historical revenue figures. However, I'm interested to see that because as far as new tariffs go, there aren't very many. Like two or three that are
there's a 10% increase here and there. I think is where most of the changes are that I saw.
yeah, but and it's because it's like tariff here, tariff there, tariff now, tariff. It's like red light, green light with tariffs.
Right. Yeah. Yeah,
So
and we don't know which ones are actually set in stone and which ones are like tentative, which ones are actually being enacted,
well,
so from what I
last week we
understand, most
were
of them aren't even enacted, the ones that are set in stone.
so he said last week he either I think he truth socialed that we were going to hear the following morning from like 8 major trade deals. Zero
Yeah.
were announced. The way he gave the time, like 8 a.m. tomorrow, like and
Yeah.
zero. That disappeared into the fucking Neverland real quick. So he's really good at failing. That's for sure.
Right.
So he's really good at failing, and
He's really good
or
at failing and calling it a win.
that
Yeah,
is the art of
and
his deal.
blaming other people
That
for
is the
shit
art
he
of the
did in
deal.
the
Yes,
past.
absolutely.
Yeah, blaming other people when it goes wrong.
Yeah.
100%.
Like when you appointed Powell in 2017,
Yeah.
but then say
Yeah.
you don't know how he got appointed.
So
I'm
yeah,
not.
that was
I'm not sure why. Why Biden appointed him and
What
then
Epstein
extended
files?
him.
They're not even real, but I just saw them. What?
no 100% right. So I was definitely bringing Powell, right? So it is where like CPI didn't advance. It's the left's doing that weird thing that I fucking hate, where they're deciding which inflationary measure, whether it's core or non-core, to track, and if it's whichever one is bad. So core is up, which is energy sector. That makes sense for certain geopolitical reasons, right? But consumer inflation is down. But it's down from huge levels and it's been coming down at a steady pace. So economists don't actually think there's been a direct impact. Nope.
No.
Yeah.
It rose 2.7
That was core.
in June, but it
Right,
was
but why
higher
are
than
we
they expected.
why are we suddenly changing the metric? Like we choose one metric and that's how we talk about it. If we keep changing it based on what we think we should be talking about, then
Well, the numbers that
then,
most
then we're
benefit
not
us.
talking about the same metrics.
Right.
You have to track the same metrics from administration to administration to administration. Otherwise, each party is just selecting which metric makes them look best. And that's why we all think that politicians are liars, because they all choose which metric makes them look best.
Yeah.
Well, because people are
They can
stupid
be
enough
all
to
right,
understand it's
and one makes you look like a winner, while the other one makes you look like you're a liar. So,
So I will say that I do think there's a little bit more disposable income out there. So it feels better than it has. Energy
more
prices aren't
disposable income,
terrible.
or more people making a little bit more so that they can pay off the debt that they put up after the inflation run because of the poor handling of COVID. So what are we talking about here?
It is interesting, but Powell will not reduce the rates, and I think that there's a big call for him to have to resign or step down or be fired, which he can't be fired. Ladies and gentlemen, you can't fire him.
Yeah.
They want him to resign and step down, and he won't reduce rates. And the generalized thinking, which he hasn't openly said it, he's alluded to it numerous times, is because he doesn't know what the fuck he's gonna do.
Well, yeah, because
The unpredictability
Yep.
of what is happening is why I can't reduce the rate. Like he's basically saying, yeah, I want to. And these metrics say I should, but I don't know what you're going to do tomorrow. And he knows he can't whip the market around.
Yeah.
Right.
So he can't drop it today and then you do some ludicrous shit a week later and he's like, wait and throw it back because the market will go into whiplash and crash itself. And his
it's a
main
25 trillion wheeler, that has a very long turn rate.
And he said before he even took office that he was going to be conservative this time with him. because you learned a lesson the last time.
Yeah.
And he is conservative. In general, Powell's conservative. So he raised rates conservatively. You know what I'm saying? So like it all he's whatever. They're mad at him though, and I think it's cute. And I think you brought up the good point. They're mad at Biden for appointing him, but he didn't. he just said, yeah, we can do it again. So but he didn't appoint him. You did, stupid.
Yep.
But why would we want to admit to that? And I think that brings in another interesting thing. I actually had an interesting discussion last night. So obviously, illegal immigration deportations are still in reality, right? It's still in heavily immigrant areas. It's still a big deal. Which they're still failing miserably to produce numbers that other presidents have produced that weren't immigration centric per se. So one of the things the guy said was, Biden did, or Obama did it and you weren't mad, and Clinton did it and you weren't mad.
Saw that.
But Trump did it and you're mad. And I'm like, I mean, yeah, but it's not because I'm mad. And that's not the right answer. I'm not mad. I'm disappointed in what America's become. My problem with him is not that he's doing. And they don't want to believe that there are liberals out there that they don't want you to do it at all. 100%, I'll give you that. I'm not one of them. Like, okay, you want to deport illegal people who, immigrants who are here illegally, that's you're well within your rights to do that. But do it legally and do it with class. And do it with dignity and respect that they're a human being, which is how these other presidents did it. And they deported more people than you. And they did, and that's the true American way, right? Like we're gonna do that, and that's actual Alcatraz, not alligator Alcatraz.
I know, but we're talking
Hey,
about.
dude, they're saying it's gonna take 40 years to get that thing runnable.
So they're
So
talking about
yeah,
Bondi
bro.
Alcatraz.
Fuck Bondi, dude. She's in the shitter, and we'll talk about that later too. But yeah, ultimately, like I think that there's an American way to do things, and at least publicly. I'm not gonna say America's always done shit on the up and up, but publicly.
And more times than not, really.
We have. We do things with class, we do things with respect, we do things with dignity, we handle things like we've been there before. Because we're the alpha, right?
And I love how people
ISIS
talk about the detainment of Japanese, like we didn't realize that was wrong afterwards. Like, but that was legal. We could do that. Yeah, and we realized that we were assholes for doing so. Like,
we do tend to learn.
At some point, we have to remember the lesson that we brought from that and how we decided that was the wrong thing to do, so we stopped doing it.
100%. But I think the other part of it is like ISIS using street thug tactics.
Yeah.
And you're saying these people have to go because they're street thugs.
Right.
Yeah.
But you're going to their job where they're working and doing street thug shit to them to detain them and to keep them. And now what I will say, and I will prelude to, there are a lot less illegal deportations happening now than there were. He is using due process routes for a majority of his deportations now. That's why I won't talk about those. I will talk about the tactics in getting them, and the fact that you can't admit that you deputized people who have no fucking business being law enforcement.
Yeah.
And why are y'all so afraid? It's because of our families. No, it's not. It's because you don't want us to find out that you're Mickey from the fucking trailer. And that you're a fucking Proud Boy, and that you stormed the Capitol and shit on Pelosi's desk. You don't want us to know that's you. So, but it's real interesting. He's taken on a lot of challenges. Guy created an app that's like you can log in and tell people where ICE is. They're trying to get that shut down, and Apple's like, no, free speech, not happening. So, like, you have a constitution thing, we'll follow it. So that's really interesting and still a hot topic, right? Because that's like the one thing that he's publicly doing. It's very public facing, and they keep bringing up, and we're going to deport all the illegals because ultimately, at the end of the day, white America has become soft, insecure, afraid, particularly MAGA males. I'll always say this: there's 2% of you that are terrified, truly alpha, truly terrifying. You're very sherry tonight, huh?
Yeah,
5
I'm on
immigrants
top of
deported
it
by the
today.
two Estawani. So what is that in?
Yeah, so you guys hear
Is that
about
in
this?
South Africa?
Yeah,
No.
so where they're shipping people now
I saw that
is
this
to
morning. Yeah.
Eswatini
Yeah.
instead of to their home countries as a workaround from the gulag that they were sending to that, we were having a big problem with. So, yep, and already five of the ones that we've sent there have been put in solitary confinement the entire time. So
It's an
goes towards the
interesting.
the whole we do things with class and with
Yeah,
uh,
no, that's
ethics
my
involved.
problem, right? Like
Yeah,
that's very much my problem is they don't want to.
Not that they do it, it's how they do it.
right, exactly
Yes,
right.
correct. It's not how we do it. It's how we do it. It's not what we do. It's how we do it. And it's always been that way here. And it's always been on the just and the right and all the good stuff. So that's been really interesting. And then we have the girls are fighting. Going back to that, Elon has now actually filed with the FEC, Federal Election Committee, to start a new party, the American Party. He was so pissed off about the big beautiful bill because it pretty much made everything he did pointless, which it was already pointless, but it was make
Just
believe,
validates it.
but it was make believe good.
Right.
And now this just completely disintegrates it, right?
Well, yeah,
Because
because
they
it's
like
literally the idea.
quadrupling the fucking the
It was
deficit.
literally the idea of like, okay, sounds good.
Yeah, no, and he did put up. So in that article right there, he definitely had a poll up, and it definitely was like a heavy amount of people. So that was the first like what do you call that? That was like the first divide I really saw. Like I saw sections of MAGA kind of peel off.
Now,
Yeah.
So
now one
like
thing I will say is that all right, so this article right here does show that there's only about a 4% shift um in what people that are saying that they'll move over to that party. So this is MSN. Um, so
Yeah, but presidential for the general election, I am 100% for a legit third party if we can have one because there was like the Green Party and all those different little
yeah, yeah.
movements that happened, but if we can get a third party in this system that is like would have like a legit fighting chance, I am absolutely for it because maybe that would help stop some of the pad in your pockets of doing what big pharma and them tell you to do to get your votes and actually do
Not until they
something.
have to disclose that, not until they have to put patches on their jackets.
yeah, that's
Well,
probably really true, but it will be interesting. He's got enough money. He's got enough
yeah,
money to make a splash. That's for sure. And
Yeah, so hopefully
if
he'll
he's
put some
telling, well, if he's
ass
telling
behind
the
it.
truth of what he wants to do, is
Yeah,
he hasn't ruled out a presidential candidate, but it's not on his list. He's
right.
aiming specifically at a few House and a few Senate seats that are very at risk. Like he's elected the right districts to do this, and he's not politically stupid. And he wants to take enough of both that both parties need their votes,
yeah,
and they can hold it hostage,
right.
right? And they can hold it hostage, which would be the Tea Party's done it. Like there's uh MAGA did it, pre. It's interesting. It's very interesting thought process, and he seems bitter enough to do it. And that's the funny part. Like that's the other thing. Like so, we got a president who's kind of like a weak beta, and then we have like the world's billionaire who's the richest man in the world by like a lot, not by a
Yeah.
little, by like a lot. Like he could give all his money away, like or a quarter of his money away, like 83 times, and still be fucking filthy rich. Um, and
Jeez.
he's also a beta who like has 80. I don't know. He's a weird guy, man. But him not supporting Trump is a good thing. Not
Yeah,
having that money behind him is a good thing. It's a good thing. And you can already see a lot of problems. So he's got that party going, and I'm really interested because I do think it will have the power to pull some of the middle, but more
Yeah.
so some of the youth male.
Yeah.
Right.
The
Yeah.
Yeah.
youth male, the crypto bros, they're really into Elon. Like so,
The
like
full
they're
on self-centered,
yeah.
egotistical.
Yeah, but hey, whatever. If they're not going to them, it's good for me. So
Yeah,
that's
exactly
you
what
know
I'm
what
saying.
I'll my the enemy of my enemy is my friend, dude. So I'm good with that.
Yeah, because
So
that'd be a
that's
win
really
for us in the
interesting,
long run.
right?
Like even if the vote went to them, it's not for us, but it's away from them,
Right.
which in turn would
That,
help us in the long run.
okay. Correct. If we can unify, because we've
Right.
shot ourselves a couple of times recently.
Absolutely.
So Hillary and Kamala, both of those, the Democrats found ways to shoot themselves over dumb shit. That only got worse after the fact.
Right.
So another thing that I do find interesting that's kind of low key, not a lot of action behind it, but it's happening. So a special election in Arizona for a state senator seat in a really Republican area. Um, or however, I don't know how they do that. If that's statewide for states, and I don't know. Each state's got a little bit different, but Arizona Flippy, they had an ultra progressive, like Bernie Sanders progressive run, and she won healthily. And they
Wow.
put about $1 million against her from the super PACs. And that's a lot of money to invest in a state race, a state level race.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And for that's like the fourth or fifth hyper progressive candidate that's won since Trump's been president in this
yeah,
country.
yeah.
And we took the Wisconsin Supreme Court. She wasn't hyper progressive, but liberal justice. We took the Wisconsin Supreme Court. Now the dude looking to run the mayor of Minneapolis, he's Somali.
Yeah, yeah.
They're really flipping the fuck out about that dude. Now,
Yeah,
where
I've seen stuff on it.
I will give them, is he definitely does 100% resemble the guy from Captain Phillips. Look at me, look at me.
I'm the
I'm the
captain now.
captain now.
Yes.
He resembles him in an immaculate way, bro.
That's
So
racist.
it's not racist. They put the side by side pictures. They look like they'd be twin brothers.
Mm,
So
I
pull it
wonder if
up.
a black person would say that.
Well, they have to be a Somali person.
Well, even better.
I'm like a black American dude. That's a different thing. So that's really interesting. But he's doing really well in the polls. He's got a lot of ideas, and New York mayor is going to end up being a hyper progressive. That's going to happen because I don't see a Democratic candidate losing the mayorship of New York. I just don't.
Nope.
Not in the current terms. So it seems like the knee jerk reaction has gone to the extreme left because fascism's scary. And
Yeah.
there's some people waking up to it. So the midterms are going to be interesting, and the midterms are like a blink away, and people don't realize it.
No,
Like,
because
So
people only live
I did
5 seconds
speaking
at a
of that,
time.
I did see an
That
article
movie
earlier
just
this week
destroyed.
that they were highlighting like ways that the Dems could blow the midterms and 28.
well, of course we could, bro. Anybody can do that, but I think it's going to
God
be
knows we've
hard.
done it quite a few times in the past couple of years.
Yeah, I
So
just
So,
thinking of if that happens, man, that's an ugly situation.
now this is USA Today, so you got to take their rating, their numbers with a huge grain of salt. Um, but this talks about Trump's approval ratings. This has some pretty good numbers to look at, and this kind of goes into what we're talking about when we're looking forward at the midterms. These are the numbers that we're going to be using to gauge kind of what we think about how things are going to move forward and how the Democrats are already forming their campaigns for the midterm run.
So these crickets are
yeah,
loud.
yeah, that's it. I don't know. I think we're going to be okay. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I think it could end up actually being a complete bloodbath.
Oh
So
yeah,
because that was one, right? Like, so the American Party really shed some of MAGA. Bombing Iran shed a piece of MAGA. Like
Oh yeah, huge chunks.
I watched these things happen inside the echo chamber. That is. That is X or Twitter, whatever the fuck you want to call it. That place is MAGA Central. I've troll all of their major influencers, and all of their talking heads, which do have variant points, are mostly all members of the cult, but some of them have had enough cognitive dissonance that it's so far away from the promise he made that they're like, I'm not going to do this. Now, a few of them are like, I've seen a few be like, I'll even vote for a Democrat. So that's happened. Like bombing Iran, the big beautiful bill. This is Elon creating the American Party. This is starting to shed people. Going back to your polls, his disapproval rating is going to up. I don't like polls unless I know their factor.
Yeah. And
I don't know
I'm gonna
the
share a
factor.
couple things rapid that are here's something that hasn't been considered, is that with the flood response that was pretty poorly received. Seeing where these cuts that he's making are going to affect real Americans in real time,
Bro,
already happening, is humongous. And we're going to start seeing that reflected.
Yeah, because he
ICE
just cut Seymour
deported.
like a month ago.
Yeah, he did. And ICE deported rescuers from Mexico.
Oh, yeah.
Like they did come across the border illegally to help. And that's all they were doing was saving. And they literally arrested them on one side of the river as they were preparing to go across and keep these people off of their roof whose house was completely surrounded. They literally arrested them. And then nobody could help them because they're ICE. They're not rescuers.
Right.
And these people are trained rescuers who are just coming to help. Knowing the state of America, knowing what they're risking, and these are the people that are no good for
Still
us.
willing to come, yeah.
That's all I'm saying. These are the people who are only here for nefarious reasons, that they only come here for bad things.
And it's all of them too.
Right. And then Abbott doubled down on it. So Abbott doubled down on it and was like, yeah, I support it. And I think that was crazy. And I think that definitely gave some pause, right? Like some of the realities are being shown. So, but what I was talking about factoring, when you're looking at a poll, you got to know what the factor is. Is it neutral? Is it plus 1D? Is it plus 1R? And that is literally more people than. So if it's plus 6D, then 6 more Democrats than Republicans answered the poll.
Right.
So I like to stay within plus 1, minus 1 factoring, and they tend to be the most elite. 537 does a good job at conglomerating all polls into a prediction. So it's actually factor of 0. So that's really interesting because that throws out, like, if you throw up a plus 12, it's not going to affect.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, I've been following them for some years, and they're always spot on.
They did. You were saying they were spot on this year, and I did not believe you, and they were spot on again. Yeah. So yeah, they've continued. Yeah, they've continued to prove this on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So that definitely happened. One area where your share's all screwy now. I don't know what you did. You broke it.
I put it in the on the side there, so you guys should be showing up as you're talking with the share there on the side. So
it's too little. You can't see it.
Well, you won't be able to see it, but people watching will be able to.
Bro, most of the people watching us are our age, bro. None of us can see it.
Oh, he just called blind.
I've been blind forever, bro, but I haven't been this blind. Now I understand why my mom couldn't drive at night. But that's a big thing, right? So, but one of the areas that I really have seen in polls, and no matter what their factoring is happening, he lost 22% of 18 to 28 male independents in a week. And that happened because of the Epstein files.
Oh, yeah.
So my name in 1 MAGA, that's the bombs. 2 MAGA, that's the BBB. 3 MAGA, no more. The Epstein file calamity. So here's my public take on that, right? My public take on Epstein files is this. I don't know if they're real, but I know that you and your people have said they're real for years now.
Well, Maxwell had we did talk about this a little bit last week.
Yeah, we hit on it.
She's literally sitting in prison because she supplied a client list in court
Yeah, that's true in the documents. But so they ran on it. He didn't necessarily. So the Democrats are trying to say, well, he ran on it. Not so much him. His influencers did though.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much he was invested in it, but for whatever reason, they're not coming out. And they've openly said this has fractured MAGA in a very real way. So
You hear him call it a hoax yesterday?
yes. So I have seen, I would say if you split their influencers, their top 10 down the middle, it's now 5 and 5. You're talking about 20 million followers, but combined 10 each between those 5 and 5. That's a wild level of division, and
That's massive.
they're big fucking mad about Epstein because they want to know. And I this is where I have seen Democrats, at least in the social media space, doing exactly the right thing.
Yeah.
Oh, he lied to you, did he?
Yeah. Tell me more
We've been
about
trying
that.
to tell
You disagree with him, and he told you to go fuck yourself, and you're a Pat supporter, and it's a hoax, huh? So now he's calling you stupid, like you didn't see or hear what you've been seeing or hearing for all these years. Talk to me
What?
about that.
Gaslighting? That's a
Yeah,
thing?
what's going? So I'm watching the cognitive dissonance grow enough in these groups of people that I have a strong feeling that we can get some flip back from some of the younger ones, and some maybe abstain in the midterms. They probably won't abstain in a general, but they'll abstain in the midterm. Most people abstain in the midterms anyways.
Yeah, yeah. Young people never
So,
show up to the mids.
but I
Yeah,
really
voter
think
turnout for
that
mids is always low compared to the
Yeah,
general.
they're
I
they're they're
might
not
lie.
sexy. So,
except for the last few have
well, okay,
actually.
so in certain regional areas, the midterms become sexy because of people like, AOC, or, some kind of, large personality that
Not a
that
party.
is up for debate. So,
He punted on purpose. I know he did. So I'm gonna call that out too. So good shit on that. But no, I think politics has changed a lot in that way, though. I think that politics is trendy and cool and populist and popular, and I think that's why we've seen increased midterm rates, which are still depressed from general, right? The last two generals have been fucking huge.
That's true. Yeah.
So, like, we reached almost 70% of eligible voters. That's a wild fucking number in an American election. When I was growing up, it was 50. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
20% more is a really large. So super interesting stuff there, right? But these files have really, like, they're directly attacking each other. Like
yeah,
Yes.
like I've done a lot more popcorning than talking recently. But like I do jump in every once in a while, like on the pro Trumpers, like we believe in Daddy Trump. That was actually out there. And it was a dude. There's been a few chicks, that's understandable, but it was a dude. Um, and if you like, we didn't trust process, fuck you, it doesn't even matter anyways, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, why would you not want to know this? Like, so I want to know,
Does it
I
not
want to
matter? Holy
I
shit.
want undeniable proof
Yeah.
yeah.
that it's either real or not real.
And
And
see
then
how he
if it
tries to
is
spin
real,
it.
I want to see it. I want to see it completely unredacted, and I don't care what the fuck happens. Like now, they're even trying to spin on the Trump right in MAGA that like it'll destroy the world order. Who the fuck cares? If that will destroy the world order and it's that deep, then the world order severely needs fucking destroyed.
Yeah, it needs destroyed. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly right.
So, because if the world order is based on pedophilia, we got a fucking problem.
Right.
So, and I guarantee there's more of us than there is them. So,
Yeah.
um, it'll be a really, 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 really interesting long term. He's been trying to spin it and he can't. His press secretary isn't even trying to spin it, and she's like a spinstress.
Yeah. There's a lot of articles coming out late today at work. I saw that they were like, this might be the story that can't escape. He can't escape.
I think it is going to be the story you can't
Yeah.
escape because I'm watching the divide in real time, and I've been in these behind these lines for 8, 9 years now. Like I'm not new to this. I've been
This,
watching Mega grow since I said in 2016,
yeah, they were in
October,
trouble.
he's gonna win.
Yeah. You did say that too.
So I know it comes up on my memories every year, and I fucking get throw up in my mouth that I was right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, Supreme Court motivated by politics, not law. That's definitely how the perception, but it's because people don't understand it's procedure and not law. Like it's
Well,
not
so
constitutionality.
well, but it is, but it's because of politics. They're ruling in favor of by by using the part of the law that they can exploit a win for. You know, like the the procedure wasn't what was being attacked, you know, in the filing. That's what SCOTUS made it about. And the you know, the DOJ is just using that as a way to justify what their argument in is. So because
Yeah, it's so it's two and two are really politically motivated. I'll agree to that, but there's the middle five,
well,
and
yeah, but
I
unfortunately
can't
those middle five are
buy into it's there's no valid relative proof that that's the motive.
I
Because
mean,
the opinions,
I'll agree that their rulings are on
well,
procedure are within the scope of their abilities to rule, but that procedure isn't what was being argued. That's not what the filing was for. They filed for this, and SCOTUS is saying, "Well, no, but we'll give you this."
but
You know,
they did amendments and did attack the procedure, which is given the way to pivot out of it.
yes,
So
but
they
that was given by SCOTUS to them in order to
all right.
make
I mean,
amendments in order.
ultimately, at the end of the day, don't like the law change it. And I'm with that. I'm with that. And I
Yep.
still think that I've seen enough out of the middle. I can't say that that middle five is completely politically motivated. They may have inklings, but
Well, and
I
I
can't say that they're complete. I know two and two definitely.
yeah, yeah,
It might not even be political. It's just principle.
yeah.
Their personal moralities, right? So, but I definitely want to hit on like we gotta nail it home that this could be megas cannibalizing themselves. And
Right. Well, and
I saw a major influencer, not like top tier, he's definitely like B tier, but he's big, couple 100,000 in the following, right? Openly said, "What the fuck if the liberals have been right the whole time?" Like what? And that's like the biggest account I've seen say that. Like he's like, "I'm not joking. Like, what if they've been fucking right about this the whole time? That he is exactly who they say he is, and now we're seeing this."
who
And it's
he
like,
says he is.
right, but see, yeah, but the cognitive dissonance, that's what we need, and it's there. And to watch the left on social media at least realize we can't attack this, we have to embrace it,
Right.
is a really intelligent move, and it's the most intelligent move I've seen out of the left in a decade.
Yeah, right.
And like maybe we did learn something here. And they're literally devouring each other, like attacking each other about this and other things now. Like, oh no, you steal people's stories. Oh no, like Laura Loomer's taking all the heat for stealing stories and breaking it as exclusives, and she's like absolute Trump right. And dude, it's wild. And then people like Cash Patel and Bongo, who are the two FBI guys, Bongo, you know, I can't do. They fucking ran on the Epstein's going to be released.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was their big thing. Dan on his podcast talked about it regularly. And they're saying that Bondi's doing it, and people are I if it's there, I want to know.
So here's another
And
thing that I think that
whoever
we
the
should
fuck
touch
is on the
on.
list should go to prison.
Yeah, I agree. I think that something else we should talk about is, you know, this weakness that we're seeing from Trump with these diagnoses. He's showing some weakness in his physical appearance and his ability to, you know, combat, you know, some of the things that are coming at him. I think that these are things that will aid in, you know, the MAGA starting to cannibalize each other as their strong leader is not so strong and, you know, at the top of his game anymore. This was always something that, you know, they could justify his bullshit because, you know, he's strong, he's the best, he's the, you know,
I mean, no, 100%. He's definitely showing effects, but yeah, I mean, I'll just state that Billy lived like 15 years and he started showing that shit. So they got pills for that.
Yeah,
But no,
I mean, the
he's an
report that
old
came out and talked
motherfucker.
about it said that it was very common and normal for
But
people his
he's
age. So
old. That's what I'm
yeah,
saying. So I think that's the highlight of this, right? Not so much you. I see what your angle is, and I don't disagree with you. I also don't think that they'll ever buy that. Does that make sense? Because they're so not the Trump. So the people who are already breaking off, they may use it to reinforce their thoughts.
Right,
Sure,
right. Well,
but
that's where, and a lot of it may be unconscious.
yeah,
When you're talking about, oh, maybe this is something. Well, if they view the alpha as being weaker, then they're going to start using then the cognitive dissonance has a place to take hold in their minds. You
well,
know,
so what? So angles I would like to like. It would. I see a path now that didn't exist a
right,
month ago. And that path is where I think some common sense shit can come of this long term. Like an amendment that puts age limits on the presidency, age limits on
right,
government,
right.
right? Not term limits, age limits.
Yes, we've had this conversation about term limits. I just don't think that it makes sense for the positions of power that we're talking about adding term limits to. They'll never be able to have as much power, even over a 30-year period, than the president has in just 4 years. So, and with 8 years, it would take them 75 years or something to have the same amount of say as the president is able to have at this point. I think age limits is the right answer. I think that as people's, when those when they were coming up with the rules to regulate, how long a president could be in, that was what during the early 1900s, and the median age was still only like 50s or something.
right.
So
Wasn't that
Yeah, because back
like
then,
the
if you get abscess, you're
1800s?
dead.
no, it was Roosevelt.
Yeah.
So like the median age was still, in their 50s, and so, or the average age of people were still in their what, 50s, early 60s, maybe. Um, and and then when Social Security first became a thing, what was it? Retire at 62 or something like that, I think is when.
Fuck yeah.
So
Daydreams, dude.
yeah, well, yeah,
Daydreams.
now it's 70,
Well, yeah,
so
62 is when you can go to Walmart and
67.
become a greeter.
no, I'm talking about when Social Security first was enacted.
Yeah.
You were able to retire at 60 or 62 or something like that. Then it
Um,
became 65, and then in what, 15 years it's become 70 now.
Oh, yeah, I know it's at 67 right now.
Oh, it's being moved to 70. So right now it's 67, but we'll never see that. By the time we retire, we'll probably be at closer to 75.
bro, I'm gonna
Um,
hit the lottery or start corner walking. I'm gonna get there. But
Not me. I'm
no,
I'm checking out long before I hit retirement age.
Yeah,
yeah. But yeah, so ultimately seeing that pathway
62,
though,
bro. It's a wrap.
I truly have some hope. And I haven't had a whole hell of a lot of hope. I've had a lot of dreams.
Yeah, well, and I think a lot of what you highlighted with the crypto bros and the youngins chain. God, I just said youngins on video.
Yeah, because
Um,
you're old as
Because you're
fuck.
old.
yeah, right. So I think what you're highlighting there is that the hype is starting to shift. And, as Trump starts to show his age, people will start to realize, oh, well, I can't put my money behind somebody who is, a
Looking like
complete
Joe.
douchebag and gets old, because
Well,
because
yeah,
no
but
one
it ultimately
represents
comes
them
down to
anymore.
the other part, right? Like the Democrats got to play this, right? Like they got to learn from their mistakes, right? And there was a poll came out. You brought it up earlier this week. Maybe it was last week. I think it's this week. Um, Democratic frontrunners for president 28. So Kamala's still number one. She did lose
Oh yeah, Josh,
like
you brought that up.
6 or 7
Yeah.
percent, right? She would lose 6 or 7%
From the
poll
week
over poll.
before, but to still have that big of a lead, like Jesus.
No, I mean because she was never given a chance to be a real candidate, and I will admit to that. And
Yeah.
I think they started better than they ended. I think they put a lot of shackles on her. I think she had a bad choice as vice president. I think
I
there are a
want
lot of
Jeffries
things
to
to
run.
that. Hakeem?
Huh? Yeah.
Hakeem? I'm a fan. I am. I'm a fan. Really educated.
A really
Extremely,
good speaker
yeah, extremely intelligent, extremely well spoken.
for like 9.5 hours.
Yeah, but not a ton of policy. And
No.
that's like he's been in a really high ranking position for a minute now. And there's not a lot of policy that's come out of him. And that's we don't need a transition president, we need a reset president.
Right.
Right. Um so we definitely need that there. That'll be really interesting. We'll see the long term there. But the world has definitely gone on without us. That has happened. So, and then I don't know. The air is different in Twitter, and that's where I've known what was going to happen for years because of how dedicated these lunacies are, and the fact that other MAGA are starting to realize some MAGA are really stupid. Before it was just same team tribalism, right? Like, hey, it
Right.
doesn't matter. Like, you're my homeboy anyways, right? So, but some of them are just fucking like stupid. But the people out there, like, why does it matter so much? Well, because people might have raped children, and that's why it matters
Right.
to people so
Yeah.
much.
Yes.
And it should matter to everybody so much. And if it destroys everything, then it deserves to be destroyed. If it was built on that,
Burn that bitch down.
burn it down and let's start over. Like let's reset to where that's like not cool.
Yeah.
Like hang them all of them. I don't care what anything, color, political party, who they call. I don't care. Hang them.
Let's make this not cool anymore too, while we're at it.
So yeah, they definitely. So that's the other part of it, right? Like I've talked to a few people recently. I don't want to get super into this because this is just a really touchy topic in general,
I know,
but
but
we are definitely Israel's lapdog.
the fact that we're
That's
still
for a
letting
long
this
time.
happen, and only because we hit a Catholic church do we say something. Like,
We're gonna let it happen. It's not gonna stop, and we would have let it happen under Bolts. So that's because
we did let
ultimately,
happen under
yeah,
both, and
because we're
the
Israel's
Democrats
lapdog.
lost a lot of pull with me when it came down to allowing this to happen.
We are Israel's lapdog, and that's one status point that I think is very real. And there are more and more people questioning it in intelligent ways, not in anti-Semitic ways, because there's a lot of people who question it. It's very anti-Semitic, and that's like using fake numbers or changing the metric or moving the
Right,
goalpost.
right.
It's all not healthy ways to go about this.
Yeah.
So, but it does give me pause how the greatest country in the world is somebody's lap and
I
has
don't care.
been
I
my
don't care
entire
about being a
life.
lapdog, but the minute that somebody starts committing genocide and we make excuses for it, we've lost our position to say anything about anything.
Yeah, we America, like I said, we used to do things with class, and that's definitely gone away. And we used
Yep.
to do things for that newsroom opening is so true. We used to
Yeah.
do things for moral
Yeah.
reasons.
Yep.
And we've lost a lot of that, and I hate bringing that up because the right will immediately pivot to because the religion has been stripped from the country, and there could be some truth to that. So
I
morality and
don't think.
religion go hand in hand.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
in the individual, that absolutely does. So you can't look at the
we
church. You
won't
can't
go into
look at
that philosophical debate unless you guys
the
really want it.
like for
So
74 hours.
there is absolutely no metric that shows that morality and religion are tied together.
Other
In
than
in fact, in fact, most people that identify as atheists um, have a stronger moral compass than somebody who identifies as Christian or Islamic by the numbers.
yeah, that's gonna go into a weird poll. That's a weird poll.
I'm happy
Yeah.
to follow up
I
with
want
all
you to
kinds of
walk
links
around.
for that one.
Well, I was gonna tell you to walk around the mall, but I don't know if malls up there are busy because malls down here. So if the mall's big, go walk around the mall and ask that question. I want an independent poll here. So in the city of churches. So it's a good place to have it. I'm
I'll
really
go to
curious.
the strip club and ask him.
Oh, yeah, that's fine too. You might find some atheists in the strip club though, but you'd be surprised how
Well,
many of them
because
believe in
this is
God
the city of churches and strip clubs.
and churches,
I said that.
churches and churches.
Churches and
No,
churches.
churches A and churches B. They're just different churches.
Right, right.
So, but pound for pound, MAGA has a fracture, and we need to capitalize on that and continue moving in the right way. And I've even kind of tempered my discourse because of the fracture. Like I'm going to move to more like, yes, yes, young one, come. Understand, yes, we have been right the whole time. You are correct. And now you're seeing that. And that's super interesting. And I'd really like to find, as much as I'd really like to get a hardcore MAGA on here, I'd really like to find a MAGA who is shifting now because of all of this. I want a first person account of like what is happening inside your head so that maybe we can replicate this with others. So, like, I don't know, but it has slowed down though. I will also say that it has slowed down. Like there are things happening, but it's the same things. So he hasn't done anything crazy or new, but this Epstein thing and the pressure, he's gonna do something soon. He's gotta find a
But
way
yeah,
out
he's
of it.
gonna wig out.
I guarantee he's already wigged out, bro. Called them past supporters, told them it was a hoax, told them they're fucking stupid. Like everything he says about us, he's now saying about them. It's fucking wild.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm here for it. Like we fucking told you.
Yeah, and he's doing a
Yeah,
U-turn with
yeah,
Ukraine and Putin.
yeah. So he gave weapons to fucking Ukraine, dude. They're also, I forgot about that. Good point. They're mad about that too. That's causing a part of the fracture as well. I completely forgot about that. That is something I'm seeing there. And he gave you now it's an afterthought, but they're putting it in there. So basically, he's always been a Democrat and he still is.
Well, no.
Spent a bunch of
So here's
fucking
the thing.
money.
Here's the thing. Him providing Ukraine weapons through NATO is just satisfying the war hawks that need to move merchandise. So it's never been a Democrat thing. We did it
There's
because we wanted to support an ally and fulfill a promise that we made when they
right.
disarmed. They want to do it so that they can sell more military or more weapons and defense contracts. So
Yeah.
let's not get it twisted. This is profit motivated, not doing the right thing
Yeah.
because otherwise he'd directly support he'd be directly supporting Ukraine instead of shifting it through Europe's NATO in order to get it to them.
Yeah, that's really true. And there is a lot of talk that this was the price of the big beautiful bill. There's a lot of talk that that's what got it through was the that he'll find a way to get weaponry to Ukraine.
That would make
That
sense.
that's coming through deep political circles too that are typically right about things that do seem somewhat unbiased. I'm not going to disclose those
I mean,
sources.
The
Um,
that I think that's just a way to justify the increase in DoD spending that he was able to push through. That's something
yeah,
that I've been talking about since January is
they
that
yeah.
he's well February. He was his desire to increase the DoD budget but reduce personnel to put on the ground just doesn't make any sense unless it's for defense contracts in order to enrich
Well,
people. And the
let's
war
figure
hawks
out how to make
are the ones that
bombs.
are behind that type of negotiation. So
True. So, well, another fun week though. Another fun, exciting week. There'll be another one. We're all back. I don't have much until like I don't think I have to miss one till like October.
I'm missing one in two
So
weeks if everything goes right.
if everything goes right, okay, good luck with that.
I know I
So
probably have a closing that I have to be at.
yeah, yeah, sure. That's welcome to your life. So, but welcome back. I'm glad you're feeling a little bit better, drugged up or not drugged up. It's fine. Spaceman.
Spaceman in the
So
dark. Yeah.
yeah, Spaceman in the dark. So we will definitely move forward. There's another week coming. We'll be back. We're all back. Tell us you're excited. Share, tell a friend, like, subscribe. And until next week, Bluebird will be whispering in your shoulder.
So
Have a good week.